Hello, and welcome. Welcome everyone who is out there so far. Hopefully we'll get some more coming in. But this is episode 2 of Chatter Up, a fake baseball podcast about the MLR, the Major League Reddit Ball. My name is Wallace Gromit. I will be your host for the second time in a row here on Chatter Up. Hope everyone is doing okay out there. This is our first weekday stream. I know there's only been 2, but going to see what kind of different audience we have here. So still just the second stream. So if you guys out there in the chat are having audio issues, too loud, too soft, can't hear people, feel free to yell at me so I can adjust that on the fly. I am still pretty new at this, so I would not be surprised if that is the case. I got a pretty good stream/pod lined up for you. It's going to follow a very similar schedule as last time. We're going to have a one-on-one interview. This week it'll be with Blue Jays catcher first baseman Mylo Grams. He'll be joining us for a short to medium-size interview. After that, we're going to go back to our preview for session 10, which will also include reviewing some of my picks for session 9, which is still ongoing. So we're going to kind of check it in progress and see how I'm doing. Maybe I don't know anything about fake baseball, which is pretty likely. So that'll be a good time to poke fun if we need to. After that, we have a couple of call-ins scheduled. So we're going to have them come in, ask their question live, kick them out, and then I'll answer their questions as well. And then following that, we're going to have a panel discussion, kind of the meat and bones of the program. This week we have a trio of NL East pitchers. We have Ryan Tyburn of the Mets. Also of the Mets, we have Oscar Vinegrette. And then we have Miami Marlins closer Brusdar. I just realized I've never really said that out loud. Brusdar Gatorade. He'll be joining us as well. And then our fourth person there is going to be Reds GM Zelk Antilles. I've also never said that out loud. So you might also know Zelk because he's in the commissioner's office and he's in charge of running stuff. So we'll have those 4 with us on to end the podcast. I'm pretty excited, and thank you for all those who agreed to join up. It has been another less challenging, but still tricky to get 5 people who can, commit 30, 45 minutes of their time all at once. We're all living our best lives and on our own schedule, so I really do appreciate those who've committed and will be on the show today. Also going to take a moment to thank our sponsors for the show this week. We have the Saravaca Company, established 1880, the first annual fake college baseball alumni Bryan Ball tourney, and Gatorade Racing, the best type racing team out there. Thank you again for the sponsors. You're the entire reason this show could even take place today, so we really appreciate that. If you are interested in sponsoring Chatter Up, hit myself up, Wally, in a DM with your company and how much money you're going to give me. I'll give you my PayPal, Venmo, whatever you're into nowadays. Or you can stop by the MLR Media server as well. We have a suggestion box there. Just throw an ad at me and I'll take it down. Had some creative names going on, so I'm going to keep that routine going for us as well. For those who don't know who I am, or if this is the first time you've got to chime in, I'm Wallace Gromit. I play first base, second base for the New York Mets, so go Mets. And recently picked up a gig doing media manager stuff for the league, so helping organize articles, podcasts like these. Mylo, who's actually going to be on with us, also does his own SportsCenter style recap, which is why we don't recap on this show, just to split up the content a little bit. He does that with Mason and I think Bobo, maybe a few others too. So trying to keep the media flowing, keep your interest vested, bring a little bit of life to the game of fake baseball. So hopefully we are accomplishing that to a certain degree with you guys today. So I think we're going to hop right into it. I don't think I have anything else as far as an intro goes. So I'm going to throw up a standby real quick, and I'm going to give Mylo a call, see if we can get started on an interview for you guys. So hang out for me real quick. All right, joining us in studio for the first ever face cam on cam interview is Toronto Blue Jays catcher first baseman Mylo Grams, who's looking mighty dapper, if I might say so myself. Mylo, can you hear us?
I gotta say the first thing I should mention is that I prefer it to be
Mylo. Okay, well, that's my first big mistake as a podcaster, so thank you for calling me out on it, Mylo. Thank you for joining the show, my friend. For those who also don't know, Mylo is media staff as well, so he helps out on the media scene, one of our 5 staff members, but I'm getting reports that your sound is low, so I'm going to adjust that real quick. Hold on.
All right, maybe that's a little better.
All right, you guys out there in the chat, can you hear Mylo? Okay, that was my fault.
Sweet.
I actually re-plugged in my USB mic, and it was not the default device. So, all right, so guys, we got Mylo with us here. I need to get my screen back together so I can get us on topic. Mylo, I know you guys had a rough time at the end of the session here. I think it just ended. I know you guys usually do the recaps, but maybe you can give us a inside look since the game is still fresh. Kind of give us an overview of what went down.
I left work and I listened to the end. Like, I pulled up YouTube and listened to the end of Moneyball like 7 times on the way home. But yeah, it was rough. We'll do a quick we'll keep me up to date and practiced. We were up 5-1 right away. Well, 4-1 right away. Got a few extra runs, but we kind of exploded in the 6th inning. So It was, our locker room is always positive. We're looking to the next game. We're already looking to Oakland, but it's tough to be on the losing side of that. It's cool to see those games, but
Right. Not when you're on the losing side, though. Dang. Well, I'll look forward to the in-depth recap when you guys get that together here in a few days. But let's just talk about the Jays in general then. You guys have had, in my opinion, pretty good seasons so far to date. I think you guys moved to 5-4. Is that right, with the loss today?
Yep, 5-4 now in the season.
5-4, but the AL East, in my opinion, everyone's real smushed together, real close. There's no one pulling away, no one falling behind. How do you feel like the season's been for the Blue Jays so far?
Well, after giving up I was GM last year, and after giving that up, I'm a lot happier with how the team's performing. I think Birdman's done a really good job at GM. made a lot of good decisions this year. And I think we have had our struggle of games, but we've also had a lot of games. We've talked about it. This is probably the closest game we've had in 2 seasons.
Right.
So it's rough that we're on the losing end of that, but it's nice that even in games that we give up runs, we're still competitive. So I think that it speaks good for the future, just not for right now.
Yeah, definitely. No, and I didn't necessarily have a forward look on the schedule, but you mentioned the A's, also another good team in the AL. How do you feel like you guys match up against them?
Well, the A's started off really hot this year, but they've started to falter. I don't know how they're doing right now, but I feel like we match up pretty well. I know Jeff Steelflex is on that team, big pal of mine, but if there's one game that I hope he struggles a little bit, it's this next one. I don't even know if he's starting, but yeah, Oakland started hot, but they've kind of faltered. And usually when teams do that, Season 4 Blue Jays, it doesn't speak well for them for the rest of the year. Yeah. So we'll see how we do, but I'm ready for it.
Losing the momentum for sure. Well, dang, let's get on to more Mylo stuff. And I have been told that is an iced tea, guys, so no one freak out.
Oh, yeah.
We're
Crystal Light.
Family-friendly, mature filter on it, so no one freak out too hard. But Mylo, you've been around fake baseball and the MLR for a long time. When did you get your start?
Yeah, so I got started before Season 1. I was recruited by a J Post. Back before Season 1 started, J posted something in every individual sub on Reddit. And he posted one on the Twins sub, and I just started getting active there because the Twins were good. So I hopped on end of July, I think. Which is kind of neat looking back on it. If the Twins weren't good at that time, I probably would never have seen it. And Graham, Birdman, Jimmy Johns, JPEG, Sherby, no one would be involved in the league. So it's kind of neat that the Twins were good. But I mean, that's when I got started, and then I've just stuck around since. Started with the Nationals and then got traded over to Toronto pretty quickly in Season 2. So and I stuck it there.
Most of the career then is been in Toronto. How many seasons total then? Is that 4? Is this the 4th season?
Yep, this is 4th season. Yeah, 3rd complete season, assuming I finish here, which hopefully I do.
What's been your favorite season? I mean, you're a little bit more tenured than I would say probably the average participant nowadays, and no one can fact check me there, so I'm going to say that confidently. Has it been an older season, nostalgic, or has it been newer where the Blue Jays are evolving? I mean, how do you feel?
Well, it's a little bit biased because the Blue Jays did so well, but Season 2 is my favorite because there's a ton of things that went on. You have a ton of really good games. You have a lot of new people that were involved in new teams because the league doubled in size.
Right.
You had drama from alts. There's stuff all over the place. It was the Season 3 and 4 were about one book's worth, and Season 2 was a trilogy. There was alts, there was the split obviously happening,
right.
And people figuring out how to move after the split. There was a no-hitter. There's a walk-off no-hitter for the Blue Jays, which was kind of interesting, and we forget about that. Blue Jays made the paper cup, so I really enjoyed that. We lost at the end, and Season 2 had a lot of tons of different places that it went, and it all collided at the end. Unfortunately, we lost there, but it was still a ton of fun. I think back on that season as the best season.
That's the flagship for the Jays, huh?
Yeah.
Man, that's pretty cool. I'd like to play in a paper cup one day. So I'm jelly there, even though it didn't come out your way. Still pretty cool. Not everyone gets to do that. So I know you mentioned Season 5 has had a few changes for the Jays. Anybody or anyone specific as far as off-season ads, free agents, draft picks that have been especially impactful for you guys?
I really can't think of an off-season edition I haven't really enjoyed. Everyone I've been a big fan of. I've been a real big fan of Doc, which most of the people listening to this probably know Doc. But I was really the most active on the team, and I'm not anymore, which is kind of cool.
Right.
That I know, if I talk in the Blue Jays chat, that he'll always respond. And in general chat, that he'll respond. But a lot of the people we added as well, we got Jimmy Johns, we got Baseball, Baseball is like my favorite character from season 2 as well, so I enjoyed that. We picked up a lot of really good rookies that are they're just super good right now. Robbie, Armando, Herberter, and Jack Mia. They've all been like super, super good this year. So I've enjoyed all of them. They've all been not crazy active, not constant comments going, but they've all been the right amount of active, which is I'm a big fan of.
Yeah, I like those guys that are super active in the clubhouse, even if they're not in Maine, because then a lot of people don't know about them, but still turn out to be effective scouters or collaborating numbers and swings. So those are my favorite kind of teammates, at least throwing that in there. And Baseball, a quick shout out to Baseball. We're teammates in another league, so he's one of my favorite guys as well. So I'm sure he's very enjoyable over there as well.
I was really sad actually. Baseball was a phenomenal hitter, and then he switched to pitcher. But his hitting, if he switches back to hitting, I will await the day. My God, he was insane.
He's still hitting in the other league. I know this isn't a pod for that, but he only has 1 power, and I think he's got like 5 homers, 6 homers. It's just absolutely incredible how good of a hitter he is. But we'll leave the MLN for another podcast or another day for now. All right, well, to get a little bit more silly, as a hitter, what is your favorite meme number and why?
Oh, favorite meme. I'd have to say I think 569 is my favorite. Ooh. Because it's like the yin to the 69 yang. Like, I don't know. I'm all about balance in the universe. I'm a big Thanos fan. So I think that 569, it's caused like 2 of the 5 triple plays in MLR. It's an underutilized number. Big fan of 569.
Would you snap and kill half the universe?
I wouldn't snap.
What would you do?
I'd probably cough and kill half the universe. That'd be my.
It's interesting, but no hesitation. You're definitely doing it, balancing it out.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
You don't cough once. You usually cough like 5 or 6 times. So I'm going like 2 to the 7th here. This is exponential.
What is That's funny.
Whoever said in the comments that I condone mass genocide, that's okay, not true, but I have to just say that just to because my real self is here, so I can't just like pretend.
You're representing your own views, man. You got to be careful. People clip that stuff and they'll roast you.
Unbelievable. I'm going to run for office in 20 years. This interview is going to come back. But they'll look at how well I'm dressed.
You'll look great. And if you're dressed great for fake baseball, I mean, you'll clearly dress great for real office. You know what I mean? I'll vote for you. Hit me up in 20 years, man. What's your favorite Discord channel and the main channel? Maybe one someone doesn't know about as much.
It's the problem is Maine. I'm not as active in some of the random ones. I love game discussion, but I think league news discussion has the best topics because it's basically newsroom, but just all the extra Easter eggs that you get that the article missed, which is like one of my favorite things. Whenever I see an article, it's like, what about this? And then someone asks it, and it's immediately answered. So I have it muted like all the time because there's always stuff going on, and I can't keep up with that on my phone.
Do you have any channels that are not muted, or is everything muted till you check on it?
Oh gosh, let me check. I had the game discussion for Houston Toronto unmuted just so I could respond if someone talked any trash about Toronto. Other than that, real baseball, I think.
Ooh, that's a good one.
And the shitpost channel is pretty good too, but I don't go there too often.
Yeah, same. Same. I don't know enough of the memes. I'm not hip with it anymore, so I don't really understand what's going on in there.
Yeah, it's obscure, which is what I enjoy. But I just don't go on there too much because I'm on Discord at work a lot and can't risk it.
Yeah, that's same with me. It's up during work and I turn it off when I'm off work. So I hear that, man. First, I'll ask you for a hot take, and then I'll follow up with something that might be hotter. But on the spot, favorite current commissioner, office of the commissioner member.
Favorite current commissioner, Hank Murphy. He is. I hate doing D&D alignments as default, but I'm going to do a D&D alignment as default. He's the definition of a neutral good, and I love it. He's super straightforward. I might say lawful good. He knows what's going down. He lays it out. He took his first break in like 2 years from umping,
Yeah, I'm so
like this
happy for
session.
him. Hopefully,
Hank, yeah. I think if we went back to you could only vote for one commissioner, he could run the whole league by himself. If the OOTC was just Hank, he could do it.
Dang.
I still like a lot of the other commissioners, don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
but-
Zelk has got the eyes emoji going in chat, so.
Oh, yeah.
you
Yeah,
have to
Zelk, you're not
forward.
bad. You're a good kid.
Oh, it's a good shout out.
But-
And Hank, if you're listening somewhere, I hope you're on a beach drinking a Corona and not thinking about fake sports.
Or Corona.
Or yeah, not COVID, drinking a regular beer. I guess that was bad awareness on my part. Substitute any beer for the Corona comment there, and we'll move on.
Or with lime. That's fine, too.
There you go. Okay, so if you were office of the commish and you were one of those 5 peeps, what's I don't know if the main thing is what I want to say, but what's a change you'd like to see be enacted, whether it's a rule, whether it's a community event, what's something you would like to see happen in the MLR?
I don't know how I'd enact it, but one thing I really want to see is a lot more, well, twofold. I want to see public trash talking and personal, like, positive and encouraging stuff. Like, when I'm trash talking all these guys, this is an act. I'm sorry to have to spoil it, but I don't actually hate anyone. Thank you. But it should be, we're sparking rivalries. I want to see a ton of rivalries again. That's when MLR is like at its best. When there's people who are really upset. Like this last loss legitimately upset me because it was against Houston. If there's another team, I'd be sad. But it's against Houston, and it really makes me mad.
I saw everyone wearing the all my homies hate fake Toronto and all my homies hate fake Houston on the district games this week. That was kind of cool to see.
It's amazing. The start of that is like the greatest thing because it was literally just like me misreading the schedule. But anyway, that I think that's what makes fake baseball really good is having people like Montreal this last week. They've been supporting Canada, and they've been, even when Birdman accidentally pinged them one night, they all showed up in Maine, and then they're like, yeah, Houston sucks. So, like, that's just awesome just to have a bunch of people participating. I know Mattress is on Houston's side, but whatever. You're on someone's side, and it's enjoyable to have that useless banter.
Well, then a 2-part follow-up for you. One, who would you say are the Blue Jays' top 2 or 3 rivals currently, or at least personally? Not to put you too much on the spot. I'm just interested now.
Oh, no. Well, Houston's number 1. There's not a doubt.
Fair.
I think Pittsburgh, which is kind of obscure for some people, but season 1 out of the 7 games, Toronto played Pittsburgh 2 games in a row.
Ooh.
And it was one of 2 teams, or like 2 sets of teams that played each other twice. So that sparked a huge rivalry because Gare and Birdman still argue on Twitter, which is that should come back to Twitter. MLR Twitter is fun. But I'd probably say Pittsburgh. For me, I don't know. I'd probably those 2. Maybe Tampa Bay, not because like they've caused Toronto a bunch of problems, but we beat them in the ALCS. We threw a no-hitter no-hitter against them in the season. We kicked them out of the playoffs, even though we were like 2-12. So
that's always a good.
I think Tampa Bay probably hates us more than we hate them. But I enjoy Tampa Bay though. It's like a friendly rival. Same with Montreal. We split up with them. Oh, there's so many, but
very good. Then the second part of that question is, if we bring a trash talk or a rivalry thread, would you make it a requirement that everyone has to type in all caps?
Yeah, I think I would. If I was an OOTC, I would abuse my mod power to like delete any. I would just kill every comment that didn't have all caps. I think they made it one of the Reddit NFL threads a long time ago. They did a trash talk thread every week, and it was super good. But it automatically made whatever you said in all caps. So some people said stuff like really calm, and then it just got auto-capitalized, which made it so much better.
Dang.
I'd have to figure out how to do it.
If you guys are listening, let's make that happen. I'm going to put it in the suggestion box. I think the trash talk could honestly be pretty good, in the friendly way. And I think maybe that's gone to the wayside because people have a harder time discerning, real trash talk from actual trash talk. And get into different situations. But if you're watching this, it's all in good fun. It's all fake sports, and we're all here to make it a little bit better. So if I trash talk you, just give me a Wally meh emote right back, and we'll be fine, and we'll move on.
And even if it is like, oh, that kind of crossed the line, like let them know that, and then if they keep going, like, then bring it up. But otherwise, just like, yo, not cool. I was gonna give an example. Or not. Don't talk about my diabetes, but honestly, that's probably good trash talk. Oh shoot, I'm gonna give fuel to Houston. Never mind.
Clip it.
Whatever.
Clip it. Give
Too
me
late.
crap for it afterwards.
Yeah.
F the Yankees in the chat. I'm gonna unofficially endorse that. I think the Yankees count as a rival for the Mets for sure. Sorry to all my Yankee fans that are out there, which is probably 0 of you. So I'm not too worried about it. What else do I have on here for you, Mylo? Oh man, that's kind of it. I wanted to ask one off the cuff thing. I know I didn't send this to you. The AL East. I'm a little bit personally fascinated with it because it feels like the NL East, as far as just everyone being so close together. Obviously, I know you want the Jays to win, and that would be your prediction. But if you gun to your head, had to pick someone to come out of the division right now, who do you like and why?
Baltimore.
Ooh.
I think they started really slow and they've been heating up. And New York and Baltimore are both pretty even, but New York's won the last 2 years. And usually when that happens, people start to, I don't know, you start to have confidence that whatever you do will work. And that's when you start to fall. So I think Baltimore is picking up at the right time. And what are their schedules right now? Like, I want to see Baltimore faces. They face Texas, Kansas City, Seattle, not super good teams. New York, they have Seattle too. Oh, they have like the same schedule, except they get Miami at the end. So
Flip-flopped
I don't
around.
know. So a little bit. I mean, I think New York has a little bit of tougher schedule because Miami's going to be 12-4. Just watch. But
you heard it here on Chatter Up First. 12-4 divisions. Who
you wanted hot takes. I have an objective show. I just have to tell people exactly what happened, like sentence by sentence. This is my chance to tell people how it is.
Well, shoot, let's just go through all the divisions then. AL Central, who's winning it? Give us the hot takes.
Hot take. I really want to make it the Indians, but I don't. They can, which is the really sad thing.
100%.
But it's probably going to be Minnesota. So.
Ooh, Minnesota. I would like the Tigers. I just feel like they're pretty slow. I'm sorry, Tiger guys, if you're out there. Swing faster.
As soon as they lost to Kansas City, as soon as that game was blown, it was over. Like, their season is done. I'm sorry, Detroit. But prove me wrong, but I just...
For those who didn't pay attention, they let up, I think it was 6 or 7 runs in the last inning.
They let up 8 runs in the last inning to Kansas City on 1 out.
Oh, my goodness.
Like, it was rough.
Well, since I'm the host and I have a bunch of NL East people coming on, who's your NL East winner? Or is anyone better than 12-4? Or is Miami taking it down in your mind?
Hot take time.
Hot take, let's hear it.
Now, I want to say 12-4 for Miami, so I'm going to say they are. The other team that will make it close is Montreal. They will also be 12-4, but they're going to lose to Miami their second game, so they lose them.
Dang. So do you think the Mets even make the playoffs? And I want you to choose your words carefully.
Yeah, I mean, you guys can, but like you have a tough schedule the rest of the year. Well, you got Los Angeles and San Francisco.
Yeah, those will help. I think both those teams though can win any week. I know they have had the bad RNG and the super team stuff, but I think
RNG's isn't smiling on them, but like they are close in a lot of these games, and I don't know. Right. You can't predict halfway through a season.
No, definitely. So. I actually can't wait for a few more weeks. I think I am going to start having people on and predicting the playoffs, winners. Maybe we'll do a special playoff edition and do brackets like March Madness or something. Actually, someone ran that last year, I want to say, and I can't recall, but that'll be cool stuff to have on stream.
NL East is so good. God, I forget like every one of these teams. Like Atlanta's their 4 losses are against like the top 3 teams. So I don't know.
And all their
but on my hot take, they'll struggle, I guess.
Oh,
sorry, Brian.
Is that Brian? I'm trying to figure out who that is. Who's
Brian's there, Beowulf's there.
Oh, damn.
Sorry, guys.
We got the
But,
Braves this week, so that's another loss for them. And so they'll have a tough second half of the season for sure. Still love you, Braves. Bayo, I know you were grumpy at me. You're my boy, man. You're my boy.
Brian, you're out here. I'm sorry. I hope you got. I can't root for literally everyone.
Yeah,
I got to have someone to be against, but
definitely. Mylo, I appreciate you going with the off-the-cuff stuff with me. Real easy to talk baseball with you. I think you do a great job on your podcast and the recap. I look forward to listening to that every week because I can't follow all the games like that, so it's a breath of fresh air for me. I appreciate you being as dapper as you are, being the first on-screen interview with me as well, with the face-to-face. That was the whole idea of all this. I have all these panels and can't find anyone who's brave enough to show their ugly mug like I am. So I definitely appreciate you, my friend.
Well, it's a pleasure being on. I am. Please welcome me back so I can be subjective again because, man, I love the objectivity of just like saying what happened, but giving my hot takes, that's what it's all about.
That's what we need, man. I'm not very good at it, so I'll definitely have you back on so you can help me provide some of those, and we'll get you on in a future show too. But I appreciate you being here. Guys in the audience, I'm going to outro us out here. So here's a standby phase coming at you, and I'll be right back. So let me just say that guy cleans up really well. I mean, suit, shirt, had the bow tie on. Man, I'm almost at a loss for words. I'm almost speechless. But if you guys just turning in, that was Mylo Grams. Not Mylo, like I was mispronouncing. That's been the fun part of announcing some of these players. I realize I've been saying the names in my head for so long that I don't know how to actually say them. So Mylo, big MLR veteran, been in it since the beginning, season 1. Sounds like it was only because the Twins were good at the time, and he found it on a subreddit, which is pretty cool. He's been through all the histories, all the events. He's been an MVP of the league, so if you guys ever need to hit him up, he also does media for us in the MLR media server. He's a wealth of knowledge, and he does a recap SportsCenter style podcast every week as well. And he just kind of goes down all the lines, uses some little write-ups, and just covers them. So he does a great job. Great guy in the community, good team member, or I should say teammate. And the Blue Jays having a really good season. I know they're 5-4, but anyone can win the AL East right now. So thanks again, Mylo, for jumping on with me. First person to show the face aside from myself. So maybe that'll be some encouragement for some other people to get on here and be a talking head show with me. Guys, we are going to transition a little bit here. We're going to go to a Session 10 preview, but that part's going to be quick. Most of this is going to be kind of going over my picks from last week, seeing how I'm doing. I know there's only a few games final, but I have some updates here, actually. Give me 1 second here. Oh, no. Did I lose it? It is not good. Hold on. Got to fix this up. New bear on my part. That's close enough. We're going to do it. Transition over. A lot of these are a little bit older. Man, that looks scuffed. Don't laugh at me too hard. But last week, I'm just going to go down them real quick. I don't want to bore anyone with this. I'm just trying to keep a running total of my guesses throughout the thing. Man, this is bothering me. Maybe, oh, there we go. Hopefully that looks a little bit better for you guys. Just kind of keep track of where I'm at. I know these aren't final. I'll go over them when they're final as well. But just going top to bottom, the Boston-Oakland game, I had picked Oakland in this one. They are down 3 runs to Boston. Again, if any of this is outdated, just ignore me. It's probably 2 or 3 hours old on the scoreboard. So I am losing that game currently. Rockies and Cardinals, I had picked the Rockies, who are up a couple here. So they're looking pretty good. Detroit, Milwaukee, I did pick the Tigers, but they are down also by a trio of runs to Milwaukee. So that is a no-no for me going right now. Houston and Toronto, as we just heard, is final. That score held up. Houston 6-5 for Toronto. I did pick Houston. Sorry, Mylo. But they hold off by 1. So that's another win in the column for me. We got Angels, Mariners. I went with the Angels. They are holding on tight just by 1 run there. I'm a little bit nervous about that one, but I have a yes in the column there. Miami, Pittsburgh, which to me, one of the better games of the session. I picked Miami probably for some NL East bias and or wanting the Pirates to maybe just have an L in the column. But they are up by 1 right now. I think that is the game of the session right now, or game of the game of the moment. I believe it is. So that's still going on as well. I am losing that one though. Moving on to the Yankees and the White Sox. I did think the Yankees would win fairly comfortably here, but they have just a 1-run lead so far. But that's still a yes in the win column for me right now. Phillies and Dodgers. I thought the Dodgers could carry some momentum after win. I think it was their second win last week. But they are down 4 to the NL Beast in Philadelphia, so I'm not doing well in that one. The Padres and the Braves actually went final. Was it last night? Early this morning? I can't even remember. First game to finish of the session. That was a really, really good game. I umped to that one. Atlanta made noise in the final inning, picked up a run, but couldn't quite finish it off. I know Luke Skywalker had his first MLR game there. It's a great name, by the way. He ended up having a ding or 2, but the Padres win that one, and I picked them to do so I'm happy with that. Giants and D-backs. I did go with the Giants, like I was telling Mylo a little bit earlier. I think the Giants, despite their record, and I feel the same about the Dodgers, they have the rosters and they have the experience to win game by game. So I did pick them. They are up by 3, so I do have a win in the column there so far. Orioles and the Rangers. I did pick Baltimore. I'm also high on Baltimore, like Mylo was saying. I do think they're a top-tier team in the league, but they find themselves down by 4 also. So that is an L for me. The Twins and the Royals, AL Central battle. I did pick the Royals, who I felt like had some momentum. We're in Minnesota's flip-flopping, and they do have a 3-run lead on them right now, so that is a yes for me. And then I have back-to-back no's. The Expos and Cubs. I thought the Cubbies might have a bounce back, and I hope they still do, but they'll have a little bit of work to do. They were down by 5 earlier. And then the Indians and the Rays, also another good game, underrated game in my opinion. I did go with the Rays, who are still in it, although they're trailing by 1. So that's kind of how we're looking. That is, I think, 7-7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, if I can count. If we count the Mets game, that also went final today, which I definitely would have picked us in. That's 8-7. So we're going to go ahead and call that a winning record so far for the week. I'm not biased. It is myself. So cut me some slack on that one. And then I'm going to fly through some of these predictions. Last week I kind of gave a little bit of a why to it, but since I'm covering recaps of my own picks, I'm going to speed it along so we can stay on schedule and get to that panel portion later on. So we're going to go real quick here, except my screen is not ready, which is a real bummer. So next week, session 10 games. First one is going to be Mariners and Yankees. I still think the Mariners are kind of reconstructing mid-season, and I think the Yankees are a good squad, so I'm going to take the Yankees in that. The Royals and the Orioles, depending on how much the Orioles can come back this session, I still think they're a strong team. I think this is a really, really good game. It would be a game I'd be interested in umpiring. I'm going to betray my Triple E brothers here, and I'm going to say the Royals continue to carry on. They seem like they have a lot of good momentum with them. AL East matchup after that, we have the Rays and the Red Sox. I think the Rays, especially if they don't pull it off this session, will need to win, especially interdivision like that. I didn't pick the Red Sox last week, and they got a little grumpy at me. So hopefully they're not too grumpy at me again, because I actually like the Red Sox. But I'm going to pick the Rays to pick up the win just so they can stay relevant. I think they'll have the right motivation for that. Athletics and Blue Jays, we talked about that with Mylo a little bit. The A's are started hot, and they've kind of puttered a little bit here at the end, but they still have a talented squad. The Jays are in the same boat, one game above 500. This is also an underrated game. In my opinion, should be a pretty good one. I'll give a little bit of bias with Mylo coming on, and I'll go with the Jays in this one. Another ALL Central game with the Twins and the Indians. I'll make this one short. I think the Twins are going to win this guy. Cleveland maybe has a small hangover from their recent success. White Sox and Pirates. Tale of two different teams here. I'll keep this one really short. I think the Pirates have been on point. I know a lot of people say they're winning close games, and maybe it's a little bit of luck, but I think there also goes something, or to say something for teams that win close games. I think they can be very focused, so I think the Pirates will take that one down. Tigers and the Colt 45s. I like Houston a lot. I said on Chatter Up episode 1 that I think Houston has a real chance to make the Paper Cup, if not win it. So I'm going to stick to that assessment and say that Houston is going to take that one. Out in the West, we have the Rangers and the Angels. The Rangers with some recent success. The Angels, to me, are a good team, but they seem to not be able to keep it going consecutively. Win one, lose one, win one, lose one, with some flip-flopping. So not knowing what their last result was off the top of my head, I'll go Rangers in this one. I also need a few upset picks. So after that, we have the Giants and the Fishes. The Giants, I think, can win each and every week despite their record. I think the Fishes are also a really solid team. I liked Mylo's prediction that they go 12-4. I think that's very interesting. It seems like the NL East never has a team that gets to the double-digit wins or even can pull away. At least since I've been here, it's always been a real close division. So I'll stay NL Beast bias here, though, and I'll give the Marlins a nod on this one. I'll skip over the Mets-Braves game because that's an easy win for the Mets. And I'll go to another NL East game, the Phillies and the Expos. Kind of drifting apart in the standings, but still within 2 games, especially if Philly can hold on this session. It's going to be a good comeback session for them. The Expos, though, I like their team. I think they have a good combination of scouting. I like what Hayden's doing there with the culture. I think I might have said that last week too, so I'm going to give another nod to the Expos. Love you, Brian. We will see, but I have to smack talk and give some sort of hot take here. Who am I on? Here we go. Cubs and Dad Gang. Man, I think I said this last week as well, but the Cubs are a team that everyone kind of had highly ranked to start the season and have been struggling to find their way. Not that they can't. I think they also have a talented squad. Ike is a tenured GM there, so I think they can win each week. But something about the Dad Gang magic, being over 500 for the first time, which I thought was a really interesting stat. We actually talked about it in the Mets clubhouse after that was posted by Keogh, their GM, and how the Mets were the second to last team to be above 500, and it was only because we won Game 1 of this season. So maybe a little affinity bias there, but give me the Dads for that one. Cardinals Reds. This is a real good game in my opinion. The Reds, I think, are a really good squad. I know we just beat them, but it was a very close game. Came down to the very final at bat, final out. And they've had some really good games and really close games in the losses that they've had. The Cardinals did Cardinal things this season too, where they started out a little bit slower, but they seem like a real strong team too. They beat us early in the year. This is a game I also would like to umpire. I need a few more upset picks, and Zelk's on the podcast later. So for hot take and animosity's sake, I'll take the Cardinals in this one. Brewers, Rockies. Brewers, I think, are up and coming. I think they are really close to getting over the hump. And the Rockies are another team that I think personally are paper cup bound. I like their roster. I think it's a little bit older. I think it's more mature. I think they have good scouting. The Rockies I really, really like. I'm going to hold true to that assessment. I'm going to take the Rockies in this one. And then lastly, we have an NL West game with the Dodgers and the D-backs. Dodgers finding a little bit of stride here. And D-backs kind of, I know the session's not over, but they find themselves down by 3. Maybe sputtering just a little bit. Maybe it's midseason fatigue. But I need another pick in the upset column. So give me the Dodgers picking up an NL West game here too. So those are going to be my picks for the session 10. On the next episode of Chatter Up, I will finalize the session 9 picks so we can actually see if I finish above 500 or not. And then we'll also check in and we'll do the session 10 update, kind of like I did with session 9 today. So this segment is purely to see if I know anything about fake baseball or if I can guess the RNG. So this is fully for the Wally Meh emotes and to make fun of the picks I have and maybe stir the pot a little bit, which is always fun. Like Mylo was saying, we need a little bit more of the trash talk, the good loving, good fun trash talk going on. So that's all that is there. Moving to our next segment, and I'm picking up some pace just to make sure all our panel can participate with us today, but we're going to go into some viewer call-ins. These are live call-ins where I'm going to get the person in channel. I'm going to let them ask their question, kick them out, and then answer it to the best of my ability. These can be serious questions, funny questions, whatever it is. So I'm going to throw you on a standby again. Enjoy the nice Kirby music, #free Kirby, and let's see if I can get the first caller up here. All right, we got an incoming phone call from Gare for the Pirates. Gare, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
All right, go ahead with your question, sir.
So, first time, long time. I would like to ask Mylo Grams, will Mylo Grams ever return to MVP form?
Oh, all right. Well, thank you for calling in, Gare. Going to disconnect you here. That's a good question. It was cool having Mylo on earlier. He has been an MVP before. I checked his box score. I think he's a tad below 300 for a few things. A few of the chat members saying that he will not return, or even that's Mylo himself. I can't tell with the Twitch names. But honestly, he just needs to enroll in the Hero Brine weight training program is my best guess. Hero Brine may be an MVP this year, and I don't want to say there's substances involved, but the dude puts in the work in the weight room. So get him a few more swings, get him a few more over the fence, get some more consistent hitting, and he'll be fine. But the quotation weight training, it's very secret. He can only do it by himself. So maybe Gary will have to ask him for special access into that one. So, and that's a good point Zelk makes, but I just don't want to talk about it because it's anti-Mets. So you guys can read it, but I'm not going to acknowledge that here out loud. I think we actually had one other caller. I'm going to throw you on a standby real quick, guys. Let me see if I can get this other caller in. All right, we have our next caller in here. I thought was Shirley Sure from the Reds, but it might be somebody else. If you can hear us, sir, can you hear us?
Yes, this be Captain Shirley Beard.
All right, so I do have Shirley with us. Captain Shirley, go ahead and ask your question.
So last season we saw some memes, like with Tyburn's forbidden number or the no days off with the Red Sox. What do you think will be the premier meme for season 5?
That's a great question. Premier meme. I'm going to disconnect you, Shirley, so I can answer you here. Thank you for the question, though. Season 5 memes. I actually asked around a little bit for this one because I thought there was a good amount of qualifying answers. But I do think pretty strongly the best meme so far is the Cali and the service time in the minors. We threw around the super team from the Dodgers, but that's kind of trickled down a little bit. I think that one has some merit to it. I just don't want to say it. And then, they finish 9-7 to make the playoffs or something and beat the Mets again. So I'll go with the Cali service time. There's a lot of jokes about that. I think it was 6 sessions that he did in the minors before he kind of started getting some ABs. So I know what Kyle was doing there. I understand it, especially from an RP angle, but the jokes that come from it are pretty funny in my opinion. So thank you, Shirley, or Captain Shirley, I had to say, for those questions. I've never had a pirate on the podcast, so that's a first time for me, and I appreciate you, my friend. So there's our call-ins for the day. We had a couple of them. I think Mylo wanted to do one, but he got a special interview. So Mylo, you're just going to have to be happy with the special interview. Guys, if you want to ask questions live on the air, I usually will put out the forms when I do my shameless plugs for the Chatter Up for the podcast. So feel free to sign up, ask a question. They can be serious ones. I think last week was a pretty serious one. They can be funny ones. I think it adds a little bit of personality and lets some more people from the community talk. So I'm a big fan of those. Okay, so we're going to move on. And this is the big piece, the big component, the big kahuna. And we're going to move on to our panel discussion. We're going to get four people in here to talk with me, a few random subjects, both fake baseball related and a little less fake baseball related. I got the trio of the NL East pitchers here, Ryan Tyburn, Brusdar Gatorade, Oscar Vinegrette, and of course the Reds GM and OOTC Zelk. So this one takes a little bit longer to set up, so hopefully you'll bear with us. I think the content on the other side will be pretty good. So catch the Kirby standby screen again, and we'll be right back. All right, everybody out there, thanks for being patient. It looks like we only lost 2 or 3 viewers, so I'm going to have to keep that window up. That is a bummer. 1 second as I switch my screens around then so I can have thing in front of me here. All right, guys, I have our entire panel here. I guess I'm just going to introduce them one by one. I'll start with the easy ones because they are on the same team as me. But we have Mets pitcher Oscar Vinegrette. Oscar, can you hear us?
Yes, hello.
How are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing good.
Thank you for being on. We appreciate it. Someone else in the bullpen with him over there is pitcher Ryan Tyburn. Tyburn, can you hear us?
I can hear you loud and clear. For the people who don't know, I've been a pitcher since season 4, although I use the term pitcher very loosely. I've been a captain for that same amount of time for the Mets, and this past session, or I guess it's still going on, I was the interim GM, and I hope I've been freed from that prison.
You did a good job, though. I mean, hey, I'll take it. Let's see, moving on to the next guest. Another NL East pitcher. He's the closer for the Miami Marlins. I hope it's Brusdar Gatorade. Am I saying that right?
Honestly, I don't even know how to pronounce it. I pronounce it Brusdar.
Brusdar? Okay.
I know, my teammates pronounce it Brusdar or Bruzy, but, I honestly don't know.
That works out. I like Bruzy, too. How you doing tonight, this evening, sir?
Yeah, I'm doing good. I just wrapped up that Blue Jays game a few hours ago. That was quite a doozy to ump. Okay. Sorry to Mylo and the Jays. I know they're probably pretty disappointed about the results, but yeah, that was a fun game. Like in a neutral standpoint.
Absolutely, I would like to ump that one as well. Our last member of the panel, the Reds general manager. He also is one of our 5 commissioners of the league. But I have Zelk Antilles. How do you say it, Zelk?
Antilles.
Antilles. How you doing? Can you hear us?
Yeah, I've been doing great. Not happy with the results of this week, but also very happy with how the team pulled through despite being down quickly and still getting some runs. I know you guys were nervous. Well, Tyburn was nervous. So it was a happy session whenever I can make Tyburn unhappy.
You made me pitch. How dare you?
Yeah,
specifically the at-bat that I had led to you getting put in, yeah.
That's true. That was a pressure moment for all of us. We were definitely biting our nails. But for those who don't know, the Mets and the Reds just finished up our session today. The Mets won 7-2 in a very close game that came down to the final AB. So it was a ton of fun. Zelk, you're still my boy. Just sorry we had to take you down this session, man.
7-5. You 7-2.
Oh, I'm sorry, 7-5. I meant a 2-run
7-2.
differential.
It was a real close game.
Never mind. Sorry, 2-run differential, 7-5. I don't want to cut him short. The credit due there. So, my apologies on that one. Guys, appreciate you all being here. This is the second panel of the second episode ever. I know it's tough to coordinate all 4 people at once. So, from my heart to yours, thank you very much for being here, guys.
Mm-hmm.
On the screen, I have, and I don't know if you guys are seeing it or not, but I have the current standings up, wild card races. And actually, as I'm looking at it, I think my wild card race is not showing everything correctly. I'm going to see if I can fix that while we talk here. But the first part of it is I just want to kind of go through the divisions and get a feel for where you stand. We'll pick some division winners here and kind of just give your viewpoint on it. And since there's only 2 divisions represented across all 5 of us, we're going to start at the home divisions first. And since it's a party, we'll do NL East. So if you are a member of an NL East team and you cannot pick your own team, that's not to say you don't believe they can win, but for the sake of parity and since the division is so close, those will be the rules. So let's start with the rookie, the Marlins closer. What are your thoughts on the NL East so far, about through the halfway point, and who would you pick to take it down, Brusdar?
Man, it has been a close division race for sure. No team is out of the running yet for the division title. Even the Phillies, they're 2 games back. Would have been only 1 game back if they didn't blow the lead against the Rangers in session 8. But yeah, I feel like the Phillies are still in it. Every team is still in it. Everyone has a lot of things going on for them. I know, the Mets, they're turning up the heat now that Sablo is back. And honestly, I feel like if any team right now, going to the second half can like have a really good run and take the division. It's probably the Mets, honestly, like especially since Sablo's back, leading the charge, and I feel like a lot of stuff is going right for the Mets right now, and they have the best shot at usurping the Marlins of the NL East title.
I mean, you won't find any argument from me here. We'll see how much of an argument you find with the other guys, but let's move to you, Oscar. Any parts of that you agree, disagree with, and who's your winner?
I definitely agree with what he was saying there, but I could see the Braves taking it. I think they're going to figure out how to beat teams not in the division, and I think they're going to be just a powerhouse at the end. But I do think that whoever gets second place is easily getting in the wild card.
Yeah, I'll take that. And for those who are maybe less familiar, the Braves can only win games so far against inter-division teams. I think they're 100% winning percentage against us and 0% against the outside. So if they do figure it out, I definitely can agree with Oscar. I think they can definitely make noise. I think me and Ty actually umped their first game, and they scored like a zillion runs right away. So if that's the potential every game, I totally agree with it. But Ty, you want to follow up with anything there?
Well, yeah, we did ump their first game, and we umped their most recent game. We tend to have a lot of fun umping them, from what I've noticed. Honestly, I hate to just sound like a parrot, but I said it at the beginning of the season, I'll say it now, the Braves are probably my favorites. Sorry, Brian, I know you want some trash talk, you're not getting it here. The Braves are probably my favorites, well, bearing us, to go for the division. I think they're absolutely dangerous. They've got some powerful bats who enjoy hitting home runs, especially off me. I could still do without it. Dallas Houston in particular.
Man, he's good.
An absolute beast. So they're my pick.
I'll take that. And then we get to have the first opinion from outside the division, an outsider. Zelk, what's your prediction for the winner, and how do you see the NL East right now?
So I see the NL East as a bunch of teams that are going to be competing all the way down to the end. I don't think the Braves are going to get it. I think they have way too tough of a second-half schedule compared to a couple of the other teams. Marlins and Mets have an easier schedule, in my opinion. They both face the Giants. Mets have the Cubs later in the season than the Phillies is their last game. So I see it more of between the Mets and the Marlins. But the Expos could also pull it off depending on how games against the Brewers, the Cubs, and the Red Sox go.
Man, I don't know how you guys feel about it, but the Expos to me seem to be the team that gets talked about the least of all the teams. I mean, maybe the Phillies, but that's because they're maybe the bottom feeders right now. But I always hear Mets, Marlins, and Braves. Nobody thinks the Expos can sneak in. Anybody think that they can be that second team, the wild card team?
I think they're consistent enough to do it. Though they're the team that doesn't, in my opinion at least, doesn't get hot but never gets cold. So I could easily see them sneaking in there.
Okay.
I mean, they got a better record than the Braves do, so I say they're in a pretty good position. They got the same record as the Marlins, and then obviously the Mets win, so that kind of throws it off. But
I can feel that. I'm just curious. I feel like going through a transition period, but I think Hayden has things in the right areas. I kind of want to pick them to take it down, but I have a feeling maybe they go second. I'm a fishy fanboy. I think the Marlins might even get to the double-digit wins. It feels like an NL East team and double-digit wins has been tougher the last season or two. So I go Fishes to take it down. Maybe Expo second if I can't pick the Mets anyways. So let's transition over to Zelk, our lone other division member with us in the NL Central. Obviously, they have the Pirates, who are the last undefeated team right now. The Reds, Cardinals, and Cubs, all within a game and a half, 2 games of each other. And so, Zelk, I'll let you lead the way since you're most familiar. And recap this division a little bit for me, and who do you think can take it down, or can anyone catch the Pirates?
all right, so you got the Pirates, who are pretty much the dynasty of the NL. There's nobody who's built a team more solid based on just from FCB all the way up through to their current team. You got the St. Louis Cardinals are currently at a 500 record. Most people kind of forget that they're back in it, despite the fact that we beat them first game 11-0, and it looked absolutely awful on their end. Brewers kind of hanging back. They kind of fell off on offensive wise, so that's been kind of a bummer for them. But they're getting Roland Colin back from hiatus this session, and then they got a few more. I think possibilities to just kind of break out based on their next few games. They're currently beating the Tigers. Reds, we are a complete anomaly, as I'm sure your pitchers kind of noticed. Is we don't have a centralized scouting, so there's not really a system to pitch against. It's all RNG if it's everybody guessing without any other opinions.
Right.
Chicago Cubs are dangerous. They have a huge offensive potential that just hasn't played through yet this season. They won the division pretty handsomely last season, so I expect them to kind of fire back here soon. Just a couple of bad luck losses.
And who's your winner if not the Pirates? Or I'm sorry, if not the Reds?
Oh, for sure the Pirates.
Okay,
I mean, they have a well-run team. They have a great player base and everything. And they have great team chemistry. Everything just flows for them. So I definitely see them running away with it.
All right. Well, let's work our way backwards. I mean, Tyburn, any comments there that pop out at you? Anything you feel too much differently about? Who do you see taking this one down?
I don't really have much to add as far as that. I mean, the teams are close, but at the end, it's the Pirates to lose. They've just been so good, and they've gotten such a pretty good lead. It's gonna take something really strong to take them out of the division.
So let's mix it up then, and let's pick second place finishers since everyone else is so close. Who can finish up second in that division?
I think I'll go with the Reds on this one. Cardinals obviously could make a run at it. Cubs are still kind of there, but I think the Reds are probably the ones to get it. I hate to just kind of go down the rankings there,
yeah.
But I mean, we just faced them, so.
Right. No, and I can attest the RNG was strong with them if that's how it's going down. And so, Oscar, do you think Pittsburgh wins? And if so, B, who's the second place finisher in that division?
Yeah, I think Pittsburgh wins. There's no catching them, even if they get cold. But I'm going to give it to the Cardinals, I think, is going to be second. They've had weird seasons, I would say, the last couple times.
Sure.
Having to rely on Philippe, if that's how to pronounce it, his name correctly. And so I think they're kind of used to this kind of situation. And I think experience will win out and take second.
I like that pick, and Philippe is a phenomenal pitcher. I mean, I feel like every outing, at least I'm involved with, he's freaking killing it. Bruzy, how do you feel? Can the Pirates hold off? And if so, who's the second place finisher in the NL Central?
Yeah, for me, I agree with Tyburn. This is the Pirates division to lose, I guess. Unless they, play below 500 ball in the second half, I honestly don't see a way that the Pirates could lose this division. Second place, I still see the Reds winning it. They have pretty good, hot bats, and, their pitching staff. I know Tristan has had a massive turnaround from his Louisville days in college. He has a pretty good ERA, if I remember correctly, and I know Big Nutty, he's also pretty good. So, yeah, I can see the Reds definitely taking that second place.
I don't know about his ERA being good.
It's very
we
precise.
don't talk about it.
It's a precise ERA of 3.27. So, did you actually finish with that ERA, Tyburn? Was that you or JE?
That was Wilkins. I was
okay.
3.26.
Ah, see, the gods wouldn't let you get there, so that makes sense to me. Real quick, from a production standpoint, if anyone in the chat, can you comment on the volume of the panelist versus my volume as we continue on here? There was a large discrepancy in it last week, so I just want to make sure it sounds okay or they're not too loud. Okay, so we've already done two of the divisions, the NL, so let's just do Jeopardy and finish off the last category. The NL West is next. This has the Rockies and the Diamondbacks on top, both 6-2 currently. The Padres are a game and a half back technically because they have finished already. And then there's kind of a gap to fourth and fifth where you have the Dodgers and San Francisco. Those two teams just having 3 wins between the both of them. So we'll keep it in the same vein, and maybe we'll start with the rookie on this one. Bruzy, who do you think comes out on top of this division, and do you think a wild card team also comes out of this division?
Oh, well, that's tough. Honestly, I could see it being really close between the Rockies and D-backs at this point. It's any of their games, and I'm not even gonna even the Padres, they can probably roll off of finally getting a winning record, and try and get that NL West title. So yeah, it's I can see it being a three-way game right now. It's too close to call.
Tyburn, give me a winner, and I guess I should rephrase my question. Can the NL West get 2 wild cards out of this division?
I'll give you a hot take. I think the NL West could get 3.
Oh, explain.
And I think the winner is not going to be Arizona or Colorado. I think the Padres are heating up at the right time. I think they've definitely got the bats to do it. I know Pickle Rick wasn't phenomenal in his last outing, got taken out pretty early, but if he can kind of get that together and they can start running with that, I think they make the run, and I think they take over the West.
That is a sizzling take with the Padres winning that one. I find myself not able to disagree too hard because I do think they are getting pretty hot pretty fast. Zelk, do you want to follow up on that one? Do you agree with that assessment, or do you think someone else is coming out? What's the deal?
Well, if his 3 NL West go to the wild card, that means I'm out of the playoffs, so I'm not a fan of that. Tyburn now. But I think the Padres are getting hot at a bad point in their season. I think they've missed a lot of their tiebreakers early on in the season. They lost to both the Rockies and they lost to the Diamondbacks, both by 1. So that kind of sets a tone for the rest of it. If they're going to be competing with the Diamondbacks and the Rockies, they got to win early games that are within the division and then kind of go from there. But I see the Rockies taking this. I think they have it, and they have a pretty solid team. They have relatively little change. They know what they're about. Last season they had a hot streak right at the end. If they do that again, it's the division's theirs. That's being said, the Diamondbacks are really good. They beat us. I was very, very impressed with their offense compared to last season, where they batted like 221 on the year or something like that. So it was. I think they have a good spot, but I don't think they're going to beat out the Rockies.
I can feel that. I'm real high on the Rockies myself. I don't know what it is. I just think they got a pretty tight squad. A lot of fun guys too. So I'm pretty high on them too. I mean, I think they hold off Arizona and the surging Padres. Myself, I do think this division gets at least 1 wild card in. If the Padres can keep it going and the Diamondbacks can keep it together, I think they could sneak a second team in. But the NL wild card race is pretty close, and you guys can see it there on the screen. But Oscar, are you feeling similar to what everyone else is going? Do you got the hot take? I mean, where do you stand?
I'm more in line with Tyburn. I think the Rockies do win it, but I think they win it on a tiebreaker against the Padres. I think that's where at the end of the season those two teams will be tied. Rockies will have the tiebreaker. I do think the Padres will make wild card.
So two wild card, or just the one from the Padres?
Just the one. I think the Central and the East will split the other two.
I can dig that, or even have one across all the divisions. We're like a few weeks too early when it's going to get really interesting. I'll probably have to have you guys back on so we can really dive into that. But I think the NL wild card is going to get real fun real fast at the end of the year for sure. I'm going to try.
By that you mean an absolute shit show?
Yes, exactly.
Par for the course.
Shit show, par for the course. Real fun, real fast. All synonymous terms there. That all meaning the same thing for us. So let's flip leagues then, and we'll run it back the same way we did the NL, and we'll start in the East. I was talking with Mylo earlier and doing some session preview. I think the AL East is a really very eerily mirrored division to the NL East in the fact that no one's pulled away, no one's really fallen off, and everyone's kind of smushed together. And maybe I'll start with Oscar since you're the most recent answer. Who do you think comes out of this, or who do you think finally pulls away from the pack in the East?
I think the Yankees take it 1 game over the Red Sox.
Oh.
Yeah, I think that's where it's going to end, and I don't think there will be any wild card from this division. I think they're all going to just, kind of like the East last year, they're all just going to play each other. They're all going to finish kind of the same, but I think no wild card. So Yankees over Red Sox.
Yankees, Sox then. Let's go to Bruzy. And Bruzy, who's your AL East winner? Can they have multiple wild card teams? What's the deal?
I'm going to go for the hot take for the division. I think the Red Sox can pull it off.
Ooh, okay.
You know, I've always kind of been high on the Red Sox, especially since I wrote a whole news piece on the rookies,
That's
hoping
right.
to like make it into a series. Yeah, they like the Red Sox. They have a great core of rookies. You know, Cap, absolute steal in the second round, especially with how active he's been. And they got some good Nebraska players in Heloic and Io. And yeah, I think Dixon's built a great team. You know, at the start of the season, had to like shift around some pieces, release a few like inactive players. But I feel like he has done a great job with this team, and I could see them going and taking that division. And as far as wild cards, yeah, this is a close division. There could probably be one or two wild cards: the Yankees, Orioles. Yeah, so it's going to be a fun division to watch for sure.
So we got a Yankees and we got a Sox. Zelk, I'm real curious about your take.
All right, so I think anybody who thinks this division's not going to have two wild cards doesn't understand how bad the AL West is, and the AL Central is even worse. But this division is crazy when it comes to ERA. We have two teams that are closer to 5 ERA, and then there's the Blue Jays who are down at 2.885 ER per six.
Wow.
So it is basically just a pitching massacre in this division. So these teams are competing. I got to give credit to Dixon for. I think a lot of people expected the Red Sox to just roll over and die when Pepper stepped down.
Right.
They didn't have that shocking of a draft to a lot of people. If you remember the stream about the draft, a lot of people were just kind of like, "Oh, that's a weird pick." Oh, hey, that's
Right.
kind of a
obscure.
Why'd they do that? But they've played very well despite that, and they started off 0-2, and people were like, "Oh, look, the Red Sox are dying," and then they kind of just turned it around, and they've been very, very productive. They have one of the better pitching staffs in the division, which I want to ask after I'm finished here if anybody on the stream could name any of the Red Sox pitchers, because I guarantee it's going to be one or two from most people. But I see the Orioles are going to have a lot of issues, but they're also going to fix their issues because Larry is a very great GM, Hall of Fame worthy GM, some might even say. The Yankees, that team is a smaller team. They're going to kind of be very up and down depending on the game. They just had a 4-0 win over the Cubs, but they lost 6-10 to the Indians. It's just kind of whatever's happening in that session. It could just go up or down. The Rays, I've talked to Mason quite a bit, and he's just he doesn't know how his pitching just kind of shows up sometimes and doesn't show up sometimes, and he doesn't know what to do with that. Like losing 1-10 to the Blue Jays, but then holding the Angels to 3 runs. It's just kind of up and down. But I think this division's going to be an absolute shit show all the way down to the end. But I do see Baltimore taking it.
Ooh.
That is my prediction. I think Toronto and Baltimore are going to go just punch to punch all the way down to the end, and it'll come down to either the last 2 sessions or that tiebreaker, which Baltimore currently has.
I like those are great points, and I like that we have three panelists so far, and we have 3 different division picks for that division. So Tyburn, you're either going to weight one way or you're going to keep it spread out. What do you think on this one?
Well, first of all, I think I can name 3 Red Sox pitchers, so I hopefully can do that. There's the Pine Tar dude, there's Silver Edgeworth, and there's Frank. I really hate the Mets for some reason. Cowboy Rivers. So I think that's 3.
Better than I could have done.
All right, and no, I'm with Tara on this one. I think the Yankees are getting this one. It's going to be a tough division. I think it's going down to the wire. And I also have Boston and Toronto making wild cards. I think Baltimore is just going to fall a little bit short, give it a run, but just a little bit not enough. So that's what I think.
I liked having the 2 wild card picks there, and we'll definitely touch on it when we get into the other 2 AL divisions, just depth-wise. But I think at least 2 have to come out of the East, in my opinion. In what order the 3 teams go, I'm not quite sure. I think I feel probably most strongly about the Orioles too. I have a similar feeling as Zelk in that I think Larry is Hall of Fame bound as far as GMing goes. I think they'll find a way to eke it out, but I also do like the Jays and the Sox. to sneak in maybe as 1 and 2. I mean, I guess they could get 3 in. That would be mind-blowing to me. I guess it depends on really the A's and the Angels and the Twins for the most part, maybe the Tigers. But it's a very, very compelling division, even just having us all pick the different ones. So in that vein, as far as other divisions go, let's just slide one over to the Central. The Central, not very top-heavy, probably I was going to say maybe a little deeper than the West, but even looking over it, I don't think that's the case. But Kansas City sits atop right now at 5-3. Minnesota's at 500, a game behind. Detroit 1 game behind them. The Indians 1 game behind them, although it's only with 2 wins. So kind of a lot of middle of the pack going on here. Kansas City feels maybe like more of an obvious choice. I know they had the Zan departure, which everyone's pretty sad about, but Tyburn, you were the last one to talk, so you'll be the first here. What are your thoughts on the Central and the AL?
Yeah, I mean, I think I do have to go with the Royals here. I think the Twins are, I'm sorry, Art, but I think the Twins are definitely gonna give it a run. But I actually have my shot in the dark pick for this one. This one is, I guess I'm calling it my miracle pick.
Okay.
My team that I think could do something similar to the miracle. And really, this is just how I feel, so that's fine. I'm going to say the Tigers actually make a run and overtake the Twins and sneak into that 3rd wild card. I don't know why I'm feeling it, but I'm feeling it. Right. So
that's interesting. You bring in the hot takes today, man. Trying to stir up all the stuff. Bruzy, I'll go to you next then. Tiger pick for the first pick here. How do you feel about it?
Well, either way, that doesn't really matter the result because they're still a pretty slow team. I don't know. I mean, did Kirby do anything wrong? I don't know. But yeah, I don't really have the Tigers as a division winner. They could possibly sneak into the wild card if they get hot. Okay. But my division pick is still probably going to be the Royals. I know they picked up a pair of players. Was it yesterday or a few days ago? So maybe they'll work off of the energy of Zan's departure and win this one for Zan.
Hey, there you go.
Just to clarify, my division pick was the Royals. I have the Tigers getting it as the last wild card.
I already wrote in the Tigers, so that's how that's going to go now.
All right, that's fine.
The real hot take is really staying. Let's see, who do we miss on that one? Oscar, let's move over to you. We technically have 2 Royal picks, even though I'm putting down the Tigers for Tyburn. Where do you stand?
I'm picking the Twins.
Oh, okay.
They have good pitching, in comparative to the division, in my opinion. They have the pitching that can keep it going. Last season they had a great offense. I think they can find that again, and I think they can put it together to take it over the Royals.
That's interesting. I like Art over there, and I know Homer helps out a lot. Shout out to Homer. I think he knows the guy that does the MILR power rankings. But I think that no, just trying to keep him motivated to keep doing them because now it looks like Sarah might be taking over. So, Homer, if you're listening to this, keep doing power rankings, man. But I like the Twins as well. I just wish they could find a little bit more consistency. I wish I could pull up their season schedule. It feels like they win one, lose one, win one, lose one, infinitely. So if they can ever catch a break, I do think the Twins can catch the Royals. But for the same reason I say that, I think the Royals are kind of already catching that momentum right now. So I might stay Royals here, but the hopes that the Twins can maybe even pull off that second wild card spot we were talking about. And Zelk, I don't know if you agree with me anywhere there or if you have some differing opinions. What do you think?
So I'm rather close with the 2 Twins GMs. I talk with them quite often, so I kind of got insider scoop on that stuff.
Okay.
But the first session, the Twins did beat the Royals 8-2, and they're currently facing off right now where the Royals have the lead. So that could be a decider and the tiebreaker if they're both tied to each other there. That could affect things down the road.
Right.
I'm just going to make much more of the games later in the season must win for either team. But I think the easier schedule is probably what's going to decide who's going to win that division. I think both teams have very good all-around rosters. The Twins pitching staff has kind of been up and down. They've kind of had a few flusters. Just kind of issues there. They only have one pitcher who's currently under a 3.5 ERA.
Oof.
And one's sitting at 15.43 after 2.1 innings.
Oof.
So they are kind of in a turning point with their pitching staff. They got to make some decisions, possibly make some trades. They don't want to make trades, but I keep kind of saying, hey, trades are fun.
Right. Give them the nudge.
Get some more transactions going in the league. But also the Royals are a great team. They never give up. They are always coming back from these just absurd from behind wins. They've always been that way. They've been great in that. So I wouldn't count out either team. I think it's just going to be a shootout to the end. But I do want the Twins to pull it out, as much as I do love picking on Lloyd. I think both teams are probably going to make the playoffs. I think they have an easy enough rest of the division that they're going to beat each other up, but also both make the playoffs.
I like that.
Twins would be my pick.
That high ERA, that's the insider information right there. We do need to get more trades going. It was as funny as the Cali situation was. I even thought it was cool seeing the three teams get involved and everyone getting a little bit better and getting people where they want. So I would like to see more of that too, like you were saying, Zelk. Okay, we only got one left. I think we got the West left. The West feels a little bit like the NL Central in the sense that it feels like a team is finally kind of pulling away, and then there's two or three really good teams that are in the mix. Only only one game between the second and fourth place, and even the Mariners at 2 and 6. They're going through the management change. I think they're finally maybe getting some footing. So I don't know if they make noise or not, but we'll kind of phrase this one like we did the Central, and I'll start with Bruzy. Can anyone catch the Colts right now? And if so, who is it?
Honestly, at this point, I feel like the Colts probably have this division set, so I don't think any team's gonna overtake it. So at this point, it might just be like a race for for another wild card spot. And for wild cards, I could see two possibilities. The first one being Oakland. I think trading for Cali's probably gonna get hot with more playing time now that the whole service time manipulation stuff's like like through the rear view window. And the other pick would be the Texas Rangers. I don't know if that's necessarily a hot take, but I don't know. I have a feeling the Rangers might surprise some people and go far, just like off of gut. I don't know too much about their roster outside of Trevor Rose, and I know he hasn't been hitting well, but I guess another hot take, I feel like if Trevor Rose gets some playing time in the second half, he might surprise some people.
Bruzy advocating for the playing time for the rookies. That's the man right there. The dude you want to go to the bar with you, anyways. I feel pretty similar about the Rangers. I mean, they got the rap for being the quiet team, especially in Maine. I know Superbone, pretty prolific player in GM though, so I think he's got them trending the right way, and I think they're up right now. So I could definitely see that. I would consider it a little bit more of a warm take too, just because they're the fourth place team right now. So that'd be cool to see. Let's just slide over to Zelk then on that one. Zelk, can anyone catch the 45s, and how many wild cards, if any, can come out of this division?
I did not hold the AL West very high in my opinions last season, so I don't think I could really change it this year. I think the Colt 45s are going to make the playoffs. They're probably going to take the division, and I don't see a wild card team coming out.
Ooh,
I think Oakland is going to have a great second half, but they're going to just barely miss it, and it's going to be a real heartbreaker. As for the Rangers, I've gotten to know their roster pretty well now that I've been their MILR GM, shared between the Reds and the Rangers. They have some pretty good bats, but they're just like the Reds, where it's pretty much just random RNG if you're pitching against them. It is you don't know, you don't have really an idea of what they're thinking. You can't. There isn't necessarily a centralized decision coming out of every swing, and that really changes up the RNG idea of it.
Right.
But yeah, I see Oakland kind of having a heartbreaker. Detroit might play a spoiler session 16 on them, which would be absolutely heartbreaking to watch. But I think it's only going to be one team making the playoffs, and it's going to be the Colt 45s.
Dang, I could see Oakland getting there too. And man, it'd be great if the Tigers were right there too and can't quite make it, but then they also spoiled the other division's chances of getting a wild card. Be a cruel irony, in my opinion.
It hurts to see, but it's gonna happen to somebody.
Yeah, you're not
In this
wrong.
division.
Dang, you're not wrong. Oscar, can this division produce any wild cards? Can anyone catch Houston? What's your feelings?
I think Oakland A's would be, as Tyburn said when talking about the last division, I think they'll do the miracle run.
Ooh.
I don't think they're going to catch Houston, but I think they're going to get a wild card spot and even go farther into the playoffs.
Dang. That's a pretty warm take, in my opinion. Tyburn, you've been the hot take machine. Can you out-hot that, or do you feel differently?
I don't think anyone's catching the Colts. But I will say, I think Oakland, if anybody's going to have a shot, it's Oakland. I'm much higher on Oakland than I am on the Angels. I know, Wally, we umped them against, was it Montreal or whoever?
Right,
and
yep.
the only hits they got were home runs and like one triple. So they when they're on, they're on. I think they'll make a run, but I think at the end of the day, session 16, I'm going to go with my miracle pick. I'm going to say the Tigers beat Oakland and sneak in based on that. Just to ride with my hot takes, just to tie it all together.
Just to keep it going. Dang. That's interesting. I kind of hope the West gets a team in a wild card. I'd like to see at least some diversity there. I mean, you can see the standings right now. It's literally AL East, and then A's, Twins, and Angels. I don't think anyone can catch Houston. I've said it over the last two podcasts. I'm pretty high on Houston. If I had to even pick a paper cup matchup right now, I would even probably say Houston Rockies if I can't pick the Mets. I feel between the stats and just between the feeling, I feel like those two teams stand out for some reason. So I think Houston takes this one down pretty easily as well. So that's where I'll stay on those ones. I got all kinds of different. Oh, I don't have different issues. Never mind. Okay, so we've hit standings, we've hit playoffs. We're going to switch gears off of baseball a little bit. I don't want to call it personal, but more maybe interpersonal questions here. Very subjective questions, but I want to start off by asking everyone here has at least have a half a season in. A lot of people more, 1.5, 2 years. But for a teammate, could be an incoming rookie, could be a free agent signing that happens. But what do you most look for in a teammate on your fake baseball team? And it could be social, it could be from a scouting angle, whatever you're thinking. But what are your top qualities there? What makes a good teammate in the MLR? And I think I'll start with the commissioner here, just because you're the highest officer. So what are you looking for in your Reds teammates and players?
Main first out of the gate is usually no drama. That is my favorite part of the Reds clubhouse is that we're inactive means there's absolutely zero drama when it comes to team. Most people couldn't even name 5 players on our roster last season because we're so quiet and just kind of in the background. Makes it super great to just be, as a GM, to not have to worry about anything blowing up in the team and having to make a trade for some reason. So that is number one. Number two is somebody, if they are active, can be active in main
Right.
without having to feel like they need an active clubhouse. And I think when I drafted Tristan, he was a very good choice in that idea of positive in main, has other friends in the league, doesn't need to have an active clubhouse to enjoy the game and kind of stay in the league. My other 2 draft picks have since retired, but that's a whole separate issue. But I kind of went the route of if the person was in the PBE simulation league, that they love baseball, they don't have to be in an active clubhouse, kind of see where that goes. So that was kind of my philosophy when it came to the draft.
I got you there. And since I have 2 teammates myself on here, let's move to Bruzy first. You're a little more halfway into your rookie season. Mm-hmm. So what teammates stand out to you, and why? And if you're GMing at some point, Bruzy, what kind of players are you looking for to be on your team?
Yeah, just to preface, I think this will probably have to be my last answer. I probably dip after this.
Okay.
I think one of the biggest things for sure, is probably that like my teammates are easygoing. So like, let's say I'm like a batter. I know I'm a pitcher, but or like a scenario where like a teammate's up to bat and they strike out with the bases loaded. Like, ideally, the team isn't gonna like get really upset over this. They'll pat him on the back, tell him, you'll get it next time. And it's like if a rookie makes a mistake, does something like bunts in a bad situation or goes a bit against scouting, like maybe give a bit of advice, but like not just like a post scouting, like something like that. And another thing is that I look for in a teammate is definitely sticking up for each other in Maine, especially when like there's a bunch of smack talk going around. Yeah, I think we have a lot of like active players that get going if there's ever some banter. And like if I were a GM, yeah, I think one of the biggest things is like a positive outlook on the clubhouse. Like if we're on a losing track, there's still optimism. There's no negativity being spread around about our team. I feel like one of the biggest things is just that good vibes in the clubhouse. That's probably what matters most.
And I think I can definitely agree with that. Just using the Marlins as an example, starting off 0-5 last year, and then finishing 8-3 to win the division. You definitely have to have those traits when you're in that 0-5 hole to keep going. So I think that speaks volumes on its own. And Bruzy, but I really appreciate you coming on. I know you had some shorter time or might have to dip out, so don't worry about that at all. But thanks for coming on the show today. And I think you can just end your call normally and you can get on out of here, man. It shouldn't affect anything else.
It's been a pleasure. Yeah, thanks for having me on.
You got it, man.
Definitely hoping to go on a few more shows possibly in the near future. But yeah, it's been a lot of fun. So yeah, see ya.
We'll catch you, man. All right. Oh, look at that. Man, technology is amazing. Okay, so this will be interesting because you two guys are teammates of mine. Tyburn for a year and a half, Oscar for half a year. So maybe I'll start with Oscar since you're just a little bit newer. Is there anything about the Mets clubhouse in particular? I know you've GM'd in the past, but I mean, what makes a good teammate to you, or a good player on your team?
It's gonna sound a little like a cop out when I start explaining, but I'm gonna say dependability.
Okay.
So like, I know that if I go to after a bad outing like this season, I know that it'll be a cool atmosphere. Like you guys are dependable to help lift me up. I may be choosing the wrong word to describe that, but like that, or there, when it comes to strategy talk, I know Tyburn, Ben, Richards, they're all dependable to be there and discuss. So it's more of like they're active, they're willing to help out, they're willing to keep the atmosphere cool with like Sablo as well. They're always dependable. When you need something, they're there for whatever you need.
Yeah, that's
whether it's even intentional or not.
Yeah, I definitely hear that. Tyburn, are you right there with them? You feeling something different, or you have anything unique that you like to add on that? What's your ideal teammate?
All right, so here's the thing. I take the reasonable assumption that we all play this game for the game. So
Right.
That's not really a unique quality. So the teammates that I've enjoyed the most are the people who are willing to do stuff that aren't just fake baseball, right?
Okay.
Because that shows a bit more of a devotion to the clubhouse, a devotion to the team, devotion to each other. If I decide at 10 o'clock at night, hey guys, I'm going to start up a random Jackbox game, and I can expect 4 or 5 people to jump in, possibly more, that strikes me as a lot more dedicated to kind of the team than the person who shows up, looks at scouting, may be active as far as the game is going, but during that off time, they're nowhere to be seen. So for me, it's all about if you're willing to do stuff besides fake baseball with each other, that's top of my list.
I definitely hear that, and we did have that random Jackbox weekend like 2 weekends ago or something like that, which was very impromptu, but it we had 6 or 7 people that ended up popping in there. Even was a Tommy even jumped in from a different clubhouse. So I think that's definitely pretty cool. I kind of agree. I mean, everyone makes great points here. I guess I agree mostly with Tyburn. I kind of like I don't know. I guess maybe speaking too much from experience, like waking up every day, I get to work and I turn on Discord, and the Mets clubhouse feels like it's a part of my day, if that makes sense. And maybe I can't be on the screen 100% of the time. Work gets busy, or shadow ball, I can't play 100% of the time, but just having it open feels like almost a part of the routine, if that makes sense. I don't know if I get traded, if I get DFA'd at some point, and go to a different clubhouse. I don't know if that's a feeling that I would have. I don't know if it's unique to the Mets. I just don't have that experience. But I've learned to almost lean on the consistency of it, if that makes sense. So that's kind of what I've looked at, and so I guess that's what I look at in my teammates as well. Someone who can reciprocate those, and I think at least in the Mets clubhouse we have it. I think there's a lot of validity to what Zelk's saying as far as kind of being behind the scenes. I forget who I was talking to earlier. Maybe it was even Mylo, but I love the players that aren't necessarily active in Maine, but they're big contributors in the clubhouse. And I feel like that's pretty close to what the Reds are experiencing. Zelk, does that sound pretty close?
Oh no, we're not even active.
Just all
zero.
Well, dang, never mind.
We have, there's Tristan, Shirley, Jackson, and I are pretty decently active. In different situations, like the Baltimore game at the end. There's the three of us just kind of sitting there, going through all the different possibility of pitches. I want to say that my pitch number would have been an out. But it's a very quiet clubhouse. We've had one guy who didn't message in there for like 6 months, then just randomly messaged at like 2 a.m. on one of the nights when Jericho, now Jose Canseco, was just discussing a swing, and he just pops in and he goes, "Oh, hey guys, it's been a while since I've been here. Yeah, I think this game's going pretty well. You should maybe we could go with this numbers after like a conversation about it." And then they're like, "Okay, sure, that sounds pretty solid and everything." Sock goes up, swings, home run, and we're just like,
wow.
Okay. And he vanished off into the night, and we're like, "Oh, all right."
I need that dude to talk more often.
See you in like 8 months.
Yeah, in the next 6 months. Dang. Dang. Well, I mean, at least the home run worked out for you guys, so maybe there's something to the once a 6 months talking.
Yeah, it was like November until April before he spoke again.
Jeez.
That kind of gap, and we've had a few people who only have like 60 messages total in our server.
Oh wow!
It's a very quiet clubhouse, but like I said, I love the fact that I don't have to worry about somebody fighting with each other, or there's nobody who gets really down about losses.
Right. Yeah, it seems effective. I mean, you guys are doing well, 5-4, so you can't complain either from that angle, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's been a surprising success whenever we score a lot of runs, especially compared to last year's.
Right.
Very bad.
Okay. I'm gonna accelerate us a little bit. This panel has actually been going on for a good amount of time, but I also know we're gonna be up against it here in the last 15 or 20 minutes. So there's 2 topics we can hit. I'll leave it up to you guys since you're mainly answering the questions, but we can talk all-star events or potential events like I did last week with the panel, or I have a couple of foodie type of questions if you're feeling like your inner fat boy wants to answer questions. How do you guys feel? Nobody.
I'm
talk
down
at
for
once.
either.
I'd say I know there's a subcommittee that's been working on different stuff for the All-Star game, and I haven't actually checked on their progress in a while.
I was just going to ask if you had inside information or something.
They did have a proposal in committee a few weeks back, but I didn't actually get around to reading it because work got super busy right around that time. So just kind of. But I do know the FCB alumni games happening, and
very cool.
There's a couple other smaller events. I'm sure there's going to be a couple of teams that are going to do scrimmages against each other.
Yeah, I'd like to bring back the pitching speed challenge that died. I think it was 2 seasons ago, maybe last season, and maybe try a different idea for a pitch accuracy challenge, like those old school idea of throwing the football through smaller targets for
mechanically. How does it work? I'm interested.
I haven't quite decided how I'm gonna do it, but most likely there would be one pitcher willing to pick a wider range of numbers, and then somebody would try to call their shot, saying like, let's say 50 points, which gives them a bigger range to hit it, but the smaller range you get more points. So it's not like you could zero diff, but if you pick the worst points, you're getting the worst points.
Interesting.
Kind of like, how good do you think you can predict?
Are you in that subcommittee that Zelk's talking about?
I am not.
Yeah, sounds like we need to get it over there, in my opinion. Have it worked out. Okay, well, since we're not overly loaded in All-Star, we'll make it lighthearted. We'll end it on some food. I hope you guys have eaten dinner. I haven't, so I'm pretty hungry. But we'll make this more rapid fire since we've been having a lot of explanations. So the first one is, if you have a single pizza topping for the rest of your life, what is it, Tyburn?
I'm not a pizza topping dude, so I would just go without.
Aren't you from, like, New York or something?
I am.
Then how do you not be a pizza guy?
Hey, sir, he only
I'm not a
believes in
big
grease
piping
and
dude.
cheese.
You know what? That is good enough for me. Extra cheese. If that's a topping, throw that on it.
All right, hold on. I got to get Tyburn out of this call real quick. That's just unacceptable. Jesus.
Honestly, at that point, I'll contact Ben about cutting him from the team.
Yeah,
please.
DFA this man. No pizza from New York City. Oscar, save us, dude. What's the one pizza topping that you eat for the rest of your life?
Pepperoni, but extra cheese if it's deep dish.
Okay, I could dig that. Zelk?
Mushrooms.
Mushrooms. My girlfriend would like that.
It's got to be the right mushrooms.
What
not
is the right
sauteed
kind?
Mushrooms, but
Oh.
like the just cooked on top of the pizza.
Like just a literal mushroom, like a shiitake mushroom cut up and thrown on the top?
Yeah.
Ah.
Not preferred shiitake, but yeah, just cut up,
Okay,
thrown on,
raw.
nothing special before.
Interesting. Okay. Well, the next one we're gonna not have Tyburn answer first. Zelk, what is the best meal, breakfast, lunch, or dinner that you can cook and prepare that tastes good to everyone besides yourself?
Oh gosh, I did try to mess around with some Alfredo about a month ago, try to come up with that, but it didn't work out very well. But it'd mainly be a pasta. I don't know what I would cook up, but it'd probably be a pasta. I got family visiting in like a week or two, so I do have to come up with something. But it's probably just gonna be a bit random pasta with whatever I feel like throwing in it.
Okay. Oscar, what can you make, man? Tell me about it.
Probably cereal. cannot make very much, so that's the default. Frosted Flakes in a bowl.
I was just gonna ask what the best kind is. So your go-to is the Frosted Flakes.
Yeah.
Any regular cornflakes in there, or are they always frosty?
Nah, always frosted.
Oh man, Tyburn, I hope you have some sort of great answer for this one to redeem yourself.
Yeah, no. My go-to like cooking meal, I actually make pretty damn good mac and cheese, if I do say so myself.
Okay.
Just throw some shredded cheese on it, throw it in the oven, throw some breadcrumbs. It's half classy, half trashy, as I was described one time. Very New York, so I'll take it.
All right, a slightly better
Before you slap it
answer.
on a pizza, I gotta know.
You can try.
Interesting. I'm gonna put macaroni on a pizza just so you know how it goes. What was the other one here? Okay, kind of in the same vein as the pizza topping, but you're on a desert island, you're lost, but you can take one meal with you to eat every day for the rest of your life. Tyburn, what meal would you take with you?
I'm not gonna say a meal. I'm gonna say a snack.
Okay.
So in New York, they have these cookies, these Swiss fudge cookies. They kind of look like the hats that Jewish people wear. They are delicious. I love them. They are not sold down here for whatever reason. And my father was just down here, and he got me a few. I don't even know what they would be, like a few boxes of them or whatever. And I have one sitting next to me right now, and I could eat those things every day, all day. So there you go.
So Jewish hat cookies. That's an interesting one. Oscar, what's your meal that is on a desert island forever?
Mac and cheese.
Have
I know.
Have you
See,
tried Tyburn's?
you're thinking. I know I haven't, but
Okay.
you're thinking, like, oh, you gotta have a microwave or something. Nah, I eat that stuff cold if it's good enough.
What? Like,
Okay.
30
Like-
seconds in the microwave, Kraft mac and cheese.
well, that's not cold. That's 30
Perfect.
seconds in the microwave. Are you
No,
talking
that's
like
just
right
to
out of the
loosen it
fridge?
up.
It's
That's just to loosen it up. If you have a fork, you can do the same thing.
All right, so what I'm hearing is the Mets are going to be DFAing 2 pitchers.
Yeah, man, I made a mistake inviting
I
them
was
on. I'm
already
losing my
retirement.
teammates. What is going
Anybody
on?
needs a pitching, a free agent. I
God.
think there's one.
I look forward to querying waivers.
Yeah, I got Cockle in the chat. Cockle, you're about to be the only pitcher. I'm about to switch the pitcher, bro.
He's pissed.
Jesus Christ. Zelk, can you please bring some sanity to this podcast and give a real answer here?
Sanity?
What's good?
Honestly, at this point, let's just end it. It's not No, I think if I'm having a meal or a single thing, I gotta have my grandmother's baked beans. They're just like the go-to thing for any family party that I have. So I would have to eat that.
What is it?
It is literally bush beans, but she adds like a shit ton of barbecue sauce on top of it, and it's just golden delightfulness.
Oh.
I've literally done family gatherings where I ate only the baked beans the entire time.
What region of the States are you from, Zelk?
I'm from Michigan.
Okay, Midwest. Do you ever put bacon in your baked beans?
That is one of the things that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Then
I'm not a fan of bacon personally, so I kind of eat around it more or less. But
what
yeah,
is,
it
what
is.
is going on? I picked the worst crew for food conversations.
This is known in the league that I don't like bacon.
This conversation, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, man, not liking bacon is hurting my soul. Okay. What is the ideal breakfast drink? Tyburn.
I don't do breakfast that often, but when I do, just give me a nice cold glass of apple juice.
Ah, that's a little out of the ordinary. I like that one. Zelk, what's your breakfast drink of choice?
Oh, 100% milk.
Okay,
I drink a glass every morning. I drank like a glass and a half today after work.
What kind of milk do you drink?
2% all the way.
Hey, there you go, my man. Okay, you can stay for the next podcast. Oscar, what's your breakfast drink?
Sunny D.
Oh, the fake orange juice. Man, I grew up on that in Florida. Dude, that was so tasty. Okay. Yeah, a little bit of redemption on this question. I appreciate that, guys. I thought I was going to have to never have you on again. So, is everyone on this stream over 21?
Yep.
Okay. Favorite alcoholic drink, Zelk?
I am currently drinking some cherry wine, so that would be my choice.
Ooh. I'm not a wine guy, but I got to get into it one day. Oscar, favorite alcoholic drink?
Tito's Punch from Chili's.
Dude, I'm drinking water, but it has some Tito's in it. But don't tell anybody. That's why I put the mature filter on it here. So it helps me loosen
water
up.
With Tito's isn't it watery enough?
No, it's not. Tito's is, I think, pretty okay, but I'm not usually a vodka person, but it goes well with water. And as you get older, the water is really nice because it stops the hangover a little bit. So it's become my favorite drink very slowly. Who am I missing on this one? Tyburn, favorite alcoholic drink?
So I know New Year's Eve has become kind of legendary in the Mets clubhouse. My drink of choice that night was vodka and Coke, and that is my go-to.
I don't think I've had Coke with vodka before.
It's not bad.
Interesting.
What kind of vodka are we talking though? Like Burnett's, because I feel like
just
that's part
just
of the
whatever I have.
Just whatever's there.
Don't have Burnett's that night.
Pour it all together. Give it to me.
Just something.
Give it to me.
Just something.
Interesting. Yeah, whoever MLR raised, is that Mason? He says Tito's is solid. I like that guy. Whoever he is on the podcast next time.
Mason.
Okay.
That is 100% Mason.
Thank God, Mason. I hope you've been listening to these shenanigans, but all of these food questions have been out of control, and thank you for chatting up some normalcy for us here. Okay, I'm going to cut it off there. We're like 5 minutes soon, or before the time. Bernasty's baby. Okay. Mason's going to come on and just talk alcohol with us on one of these podcasts one of these days. Guys, I want to thank you for coming on. I know Brusdy left us a little bit earlier, but second episode ever, Chatter Up. I know we cover a range of things. I know it's been a little longer, but I appreciate your patience on it. And I'm going to go ahead and outro us out here for those still watching so I can get rid of all these callers, and then I'll be right back to finish this up, guys. Hang tight for me.
Help.
Send help. Okay, we're back. If you guys have been here, if you're just joining in for being real late for some reason, that was our our panel portion of the podcast. We had a trio, a threesome, if you will, of NL East pitchers. Brusdar Gatorade from the Marlins. We had Oscar Vinegrette and Ryan Tyburn from the Mets. And then we had GM of the Reds, Zelk, with us as well. He's also in the office of the commissioner. Guys, I really appreciate you coming on. I thought it was a great panel. We got through a lot of the MLR standings, predicting some division winners going forward, talked some food at the end, even though a lot of your answers just left a lot to be desired. So I might edit that out. Who knows? I mean, it was pretty bad answers all around, but I appreciate you guys coming on for that. Going to hit the sponsorships one more time just because they're so important. We were sponsored by the Saravaca Company today. Speaking of alcohol, established in 1880, the first annual Fake College Baseball Alumni Bryan Ball Tournament, and then also the Gatorade Racing Team, the best type racing team ever to exist. Appreciate the sponsorship there. I mentioned earlier in the stream, anyone can sponsor Chatter Up. Just send a DM to Wallace Gromit, or even stop by the MLR Media section. We have a suggestion box there too. You can feel free to drop it. We need sponsors to keep us going, so I appreciate that. I already thanked our panel. I thank in Mylo Grams for doing our interview earlier. That was one-on-one. If you guys did not catch that, I absolutely implore you to check out the VOD. He came prepared. He was our first face interview, so we had our first face-to-face interview, and he definitely looked the part. He's a wealth of knowledge too, so I thought that went really well. I think I've covered all the bases. This stream actually went the full 2 hours. Last episode was about an hour 45 minutes, so probably a lot to do with some of the panelists and better timing second time around. So getting a little bit better at it. I will get this VOD up, if not by tonight, tomorrow sometime. It'll have a YouTube version, a Twitch version, and I'll put it up on the subreddit as well. So tell all your friends, your family, everyone else that cares about fake baseball, or even bad food answers, whatever tickles your fancy. But guys, I'm going to end it right here. Appreciate you guys that stuck through for most of the time, or anyone that jumped through in the middle. We really appreciate it, and I'm sure we're going to talk on Discord pretty soon. So this is Wallace Gromit signing out of Chatter Up. Have a good evening, guys.